What I'm going to be cooking today is a brown rice salad with some seared coral trout, some tuna, mud crab, and a selection of vegetables. So basically the selection that you guys had available during your challenge. I'm put a pot on already because I'm going to use some crab. I'll cook the crab off in some water, to which I add some salt and some dried mango to get a nice and sour taste. Okay, nice mud crab we're going to put it in. Right, you kill them just before you cook them. This one's been put in the freezer. We'll get it in there, nice and snugly. All right, lid on. There's only one thing you need to really look out for now. You don't want to be boiling the out of it. Crayfish or crustaceans, you do not want to let that happen. Right, in an ideal world, you get 60 degrees. This is not an ideal world. You make sure it's around 60 degrees. As soon as it boils, the proteins will set and they throw out or they push out a lot of the water that's still in there, and you end up with a dry, rubbery piece of crab, almost like the surimi, like the imitation crab. Right, you don't want that. So that temperature is quite important. Right, I'll put a timer on. That size crab, you just have to play with it. With that size crab, minute or 6, 7, it should be fine. The second thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make a sweet and sour liquid. Now, I'm going to use that later on to quickly marinate some of the vegetables that I'm going to use. All right, we've got some white vinegar. And we've got some water. And I'm going to season that up with some cracked black pepper. And I've got the lemon leaves. Have you had drolly molly? It's a tea that I make on the islands. Right, we've got a few trees out here, the lemon trees, and they'll use the mature leaves. Okay, they've got a lot of flavour, and they just make it like a tea. I'm adding that to that water and vinegar mixture. And last but not least is sweet and sour, so we need sugar. Just bring it to the boil, let it cool down. Brown rice. What I've got is short grain brown rice. Why? Well, it ticks the box for the heart foundation. It's very healthy. I've got 400 grams of brown rice, and I'm going to add 400 grams of water. I've treated it almost like sushi rice. So I've washed it, I soaked it for about 15 minutes, let it drain, and that's it. Goes in the pot with the water. We'll get a lid on, bring it to the boil quickly. Right, as soon as it boils, I'll let it boil for 5 minutes on low heat. Okay, then I'll turn it off and let it rest for 11 minutes. For me, that's the perfect texture. In the meantime, my sweet and sour has dissolved. I'll put that off, and that can rest here till I'm ready to use it. What I'm going to be cooking today is a brown rice salad with some coral trout, tuna, mud crab, and a selection of vegetables. The next step will be a dressing. I've got 30 grams of dark soy, 100 grams of ketchup minus or sweet soy. Now I've got 5 grams of sesame oil, sushi vinegar. You'll see that coming back quite a lot. I love using it. It's a ready-made vinegar. Right, there's salt, there's sugar, there's acidity, lovely. Then I'm going to add the juice and also the microplaned zest, 1 lime. And then we get some aromatics that I love on the island. Okay, we've got ginger. I'm going to add about half a chopped chili in there. I've de-seeded it, taken the seeds out, but that's up to you. Last but not least, coriander roots. Right, just the roots. They're packed full of flavour. And what I'll do is just crush it up a little bit, crush it up so it releases its vibrant flavour. Whack it in there, done. Let them marinate for about half an hour, a bit longer if you like, but that's the minimum. Strain it, push it through, and you got your dressing. Right, I've got 1 minute left for that crab. There it is. Okay, I'll take the lid off straight away, and I'll get that crab out. Now we'll cool it down in the fridge. Right, if you're in a rush, you can plunge it in some ice water if you'd like. Right, this is not a big dish. Yep. So I'm just going to use a claw, big claw. So I'll break that off now. Right, always move with the crab. Right, comes off easy. And I'll put that in the fridge. Another thing that we can do in advance is do the fish. A piece of coral trout and a piece of the yellowfin tuna. I've got some sashimi togarashi, which is a spice mix, a Japanese spice mix. It's pre-made. It's not rocket science. You can just buy it. Also spicy. So one of these fishes, in this case a coral trout, I'm going to make quite spicy. And the other one, I'll just season with a bit of salt and pepper. That's it. In the meantime, I've preheated the hot plate. Normal oil. Olive oil would be a bit of a waste. Okay, it goes back to 11 minutes. And then the rice is ready to be prepped up further on. Right, back to the fish. On. Just count 10 seconds, turn. 10 seconds, turn. 10 seconds, turn, done. Smells beautiful. And that goes in the fridge as well. It can firm up so it's easy for me to cut it later on. Right, protein sorted, sauce sorted, the rice, we're waiting for that. What I want to do now, you've got those nice cucumbers, peel them, a hard peel. Carrots, all right, I've just peeled them off. Some green beans, I simply blanched them, salt and water, that's it. Right, about 2 minutes or use your brain. Mandolin, great tool. That'll be enough. I'll do the same with the pumpkin. Remember that sweet and sour that we made previously? This is going in for another 10-15 minutes. Right, you can leave it in longer, but through the acidity, it will soften up your produce a little bit. I'll do the same with the pumpkin. Goes away, done. Cucumber. I think I'll do a nice square. Okay, I'd rather not use the seeds of these with some European cucumbers, I would. Okay, the beans that I was talking about, I'll take the end off where it hangs on the vine. I'll take that part off, but the other point, I'll just leave it on. I like that presentation. Okay, next one, lettuce. I've taken the leaves off, I've washed them. Most people use it like that, or they take the nerves out, right, the core. I use the core. Right, you fold them over and just cut them like that so you get a nice boat, nice shape. If you've got large, say, cos lettuce, you could fill this, make a nice canapé. It's nice and crunchy, eh? Most people say it's quite bitter. It does have a bit more flavour, but I do not agree with the bitterness. I don't think so, it has character. All right, that's the rice, 11 minutes. We'll carry on with the vegetables in a minute, but it's nice to work this rice when it's slightly warm and it absorbs the flavours quite nice. Now we've got the dressing. That's been standing for more than half an hour. Right, strain it, and then you want to push it out. All the aromatics, all the herbs, all the spices, the solids. Just push every last little drip out. We'll get that dressing, stir it through your rice, and just taste, that's it. It's nothing more, nothing less. All right, also ready to go. Once that rice is mixed, I'd like to use it that day. Actually, within a couple of hours. I don't like to put it in the fridge. If you put cooked rice in the fridge or sushi rice in the fridge, it might get hard. We got one more ingredient. Well, we got a few more actually, but one more that you might not know. All right, the black garlic. It looks like a clove of garlic, because that's what it is. It's completely black in the middle. All right, it's sweet, like garlic licorice. It's good. The other thing I have is tomatoes. Nice little tomatoes, just in a pot of boiling water. Peel the skin off, and that's what it is. In the meantime, that crab's cooled down, so I'm going to crack those claws. It's not hard at all. All you do is take the whole leg off, all right? Break it on the joint. The little tweezer. I'll loosen it up. It has the membrane attached to it. Give it a little tap. Well, that's a bit too hard, honestly. You just want a little crack so you can peel it out. You can see the membrane in here in that claw. It's quite clear. Okay, always make sure every claw will have this. If you cleaned it up and it's not on there, you better go looking for it. We need to cut the fish. Take it off, nice sharp knife, little cubes about 1 centimetre long. A couple of you had a little bit of a problem slicing the fish this way. Use the right tools for the right jobs. And I'm using quite a long knife. Use the whole length of the knife. It's there for a reason. You use this, it will become a mess. Right, so if you start cutting a 500 gram steak with this, you're going to end up in a mess. Is that clear? Do you understand that? Yeah. It's not just with fish, eh? Yeah. Bread knives. I see people slicing bread. You got a bread knife this long and they do this. Doesn't work, all right? There's a reason why they make it that long. Use it. I'll do the same with tuna. All right, I won't bore you any longer. It goes exactly the same way. I'm gonna add a bit of pepper, not just on top. I always do two sides, and not on the cut side. That's the presentation side. You want to keep that clean. Okay, I think we're about ready to start on the presentation. I'll start with the rice. Goes on the bottom. So the fish and the crab. It doesn't really matter how you do it, as long as it's not in sequence. I don't want to make it square or round or triangles. I want to make it irregular. And trust me, try it. It's harder than it looks. Well, I'll just grab a bit of that crab meat. I'll grab the largest pieces. I'm going to dress that lightly. A bit of pepper. A bit of salt. This one I'll use a bit of this olive oil. And I've got the sushi vinegar we were talking about. Just a tiny little bit, just to freshen it up. And I'll start putting the crab through as well. Again, random. The cucumber, the lettuce, and the beans. All right, you're not going to put it on like that. Any veg without seasoning is nice for rabbits or whatever, not for human beings. I've got some olive oil, which I infuse with some mandarin peels. And again, for the freshness, sushi vinegar. Okay, we'll let that marinate for about 2 minutes. We've got the pumpkin, right, the carrots, pickled ginger. If you all had sushi, you know what pickled ginger is. Just buy it. You can make it, I'll just buy it. Now we've got those lovely tomatoes. I'll cut them in half. Okay, the vegetables been marinating, in this goes. The reason why I'm doing this now, because when they get soft, the tomatoes might get soft, but the dressing, the whole freshness of the greens might be compromised by some squashed tomato. Right, I'm rolling this around very carefully. Right, and I'll start plating that. It's also quite fun to put together with a group of friends or with kids, or you can't really do it wrong. One little addition. This is 75 grams of mayonnaise and 20 grams of wasabi. I'll put a few little dots on the fish. Okay, a few dots in between, and again, random. Black garlic, in she goes. I love coriander. A few sprigs of coriander, not too big. Sesame seeds. Okay, I've got some black and some white ones. That's pure presentation. Make sure you toast them, otherwise they don't have a nice flavor. Some smoked bonito flakes. Right, again, a Japanese produce. Main ingredient of the dashi. And that's the last part. And that's all I want to say about it. Rice, fish and veg.
Thank you.